Hey everybody, I hope everybody's staying safe and healthy during this pandemic. My paper will be about political hobbyism. Uh, Political hobbyism is including oneself into political topics in which they have barely any knowledge or have little relevance to them. It's pretty much anything that's been shown to you that you show interest for only because of its entertainment value. So, what makes a political hobbyist is just that they feel a civic duty to be informed. Where I got my research topic from Hidden Brain, and an example they used was a political scientist named Anton Hirsch saw a tendency developing from his father. When he was young, his household was like all over news, anything ranging from radio broadcasts to like reading the news every day. So that's pretty much all they did. And after he left for school, leaving for college, he noticed that his father was developing a habit when he came back home for breaks, watching cable news. And when he asked his father, it was the same reason why every other millions of Americans are doing the same thing. And they feel accustomed to being updated. They really feel a civic duty to be informed. But little do they know what effect that has on the world when it's political hobbyism. Being that it has no relevance to a person is because they're not putting any act on any problems that are going on in the world having to do with anything that they're watching or being informed on. So it's basically just being a sitting rock watching information pass you by and wanting to go into online debates and wanting to talk about the topic and at least inform everybody else about what's going on. And it's good at an extent unless you're not showing anything that's really preventing the problem that you're addressing is. So so that's basically what a political hobbyist does. They find many ways to do just to talk about these problems other than putting in an effort and doing anything about it. The effect that has on politics is that basically it uh, changes a politician's behavior. Whatever the people want, it is become what politicians decide is what is the best plan for them to be elected. So they do everything that's trending on every database. That's why I say this is the create majority. The majority of people in the all of the world are doing political hobbyism, be, just because of all the advancement of technology today with social media. Everything with social media now, it's like any idea you want, as long as you post it, the whole world can see it at any point in time if they truly wanted to. And with that, that's when trends start developing and things become popular, and these politicians change their behavior and start being what the audience, the majority of the people who are watching these news shows want, because that's their audience, the people who are watching the TV doing this. So an example of this is a study from Oregon State, seeing that in areas of high segregation, and that's like of any kind, that's a community that's in a majority African American, it's proven that voting tends to decrease, giving less voter participation from that community. So this is an idea that confirms that African Americans tend to vote less, especially if in these segregated communities. So because of that, you don't know what could come into play. Like, there's so many factors with human nature and social science. Like, there could be racism. It could be any ideal. That's really the ideal reason for these segregated communities, is because it's either they have an idea of how they look upon the rest of the world, and that's what their image is. And so basically, political hobbyism is not a good trait, and that's what's trying to be proven here in this paper. So a way for people to be actually politically engaged is for them to understand that their votes in favor of leaders to speak for them and their thoughts. and the leaders support the citizens' interests. That's what should be the only thing that comes to mind in anybody who chooses to vote. You have two rights as a U.S. resident, and that's casting a vote in in government decisions and pursuing administrative position within what you're voting for. So, with that being said, if you're going to go out and make a vote or sign up for anything, you have to take the initiative for what you're basically signing up for. Is these problems in the world with anything, political or environmental, whatever it is, that have its own face and image toward all of America, they are serious problems. So it can't just be a vote for it and no action being done for that one individual who's put in a vote, because now we've reached a time to where it's the majority of America, and that's a bad thing. So by working in a community and showing how much you care about resolving its detrimental needs, you gain power for their values. At that point, a political race comes, or a significant, or whenever a political race comes, or what, a council meeting or whatever, the community begins to appear more, and you see more, not just the community, but people from around the state or the county, just to help out in that situation because it was informed, and people are, it takes one individual for people to even follow. That's basically the fundamentals of legislative issues. So in my conclusion, what a hobbyist can learn from all of that is that when we vote and infrequently sign a request to go into an assembly, be it as it may, we essentially connect with by expanding legislative issues as though it's a game or a side as an interest, and we can't pursue anything, any legislative issue or anything political as that, because that's what the world is going off of, and they want the people's voice. So in order basically to conclude all of that, you have to, if you using your voice is very powerful, and an individual needs to understand that as an individual. And that's where I'm concluding at, and that's the basis of my paper. Thank you for